Why is he equating talking about slavery with woke?
I think what he's asking is, in our museums, what defines us? Are we going to be defined by the worst moment or the worst institution or the worst mistake we ever made? It's to ask a very simple question. Are we going to present ourselves as being exceptional or not? And I think he believes there is an effort by some to continue to try to define us from our worst moment instead of to try to focus and define us based on our best moments.
What up, my common sense revolutionaries, y'all? On today's episode, y'all, we got Scott Jennings going ham on the CNN panel of left liberal losers in regards to Donald Trump stripping the Smithsonian Museum of slavery exhibitions. And boy, are these black liberals in a tear about that. Y'all, we gonna unpack all of that, and we gonna try to make it make some sense, y'all. All that on today's episode of Uncommon Nonsense. Let go.
We are here in the studio with our panel, Leah Wright-Rigueur. I was actually surprised to see President Trump basically saying the quiet part out loud, that this review of the Smithsonian is not about even just something vague about reviewing history to make sure that it's fair. He wants to make it so that it talks less about slavery. What does that say to you?
Well, I think it's an effort. It's part of a larger effort to both stainwash and whitewash American history and essentially erase all of the parts and disappear all of the parts that make Americans, that make President Trump uncomfortable. I wonder if the president has actually ever visited any of the Smithsonian museums. And then I remembered that in 2017, he actually took a tour of the National Museum of African American History and Culture.
Let me just play, actually, what he said during that tour. Listen to this.
I had the privilege of visiting the National Museum of African American History and Culture right here in Washington, D.C. It's a new, beautiful Smithsonian museum that serves as a shining example of African Americans' incredible contributions to our culture, our society, and our history. It also tells of the great struggle for freedom and equality that prevailed against the sins of slavery and the injustice of discrimination. The work and love of the people who helped create such a masterpiece is a testament to the legacy of so many leaders it honors.
So was it that he didn't believe what he read from the teleprompter as he recorded that video, or what?
See, this is what I'm saying. See, all right, y'all, here we go. Here we go. Now, I guess I want to position myself correctly on this video. I want to start out by letting y'all know that I don't have a problem with the history of this country being displayed in all its glory and in all its ugliness and all its filth in our national museums. I don't have no beef with this. I don't have no beef with slavery being a major exhibit at the Smithsonian arena, because it is, after all, part of American history. It's not only what we've been through, but what we've overcame. So it's very valuable to our historical storyline. So I get that. I dig that. What I don't get is how the decision to not focus on our ills and our sins and focus on those things that brings us together, those things that bridges the gaps, those things that make us great, those things that make us the best country in the world. Instead of focus on this, why are we always harping on what we was and what we used to be? Because it's apparent that no one's in chains anymore. And I know that these liberal losers, I'm quite sure in this video, you're going to see a lot of liberal guys. You're going to see a lot of people screaming how slavery is present and relevant even today in the lives of black folk. Well, I'm screaming, push it. I'm screaming, bull crap. Because the slavery still prevalent in the black experience is only because black folks is keep if slavery is still prevalent in the black experience here in America, it's only because black folk do not want to shake those chains off. And I'm not going to even say that it's black folk. These liberal politicians won't allow black folk to shake off those historical chains and to start focusing on the now so they can provide and prepare for tomorrow. Like these liberals don't want you to do that. I told you they want you to stay constantly the victim. So in any discussion around race, slavery, economics, education, any of these issues, they're gonna install race. They're gonna go right back to the historical text of what we used to be. We're no longer that. And I know there's still probably residual effects of slavery, but I'm telling you, not to the point where we should be holding our current white American citizens responsible for it. Because this is just not the sins of their fathers. This is the sins of their great grandfathers, their great great grandfathers. So why is we still harping over this? There's nowhere in the world where black folks should be tripping over white folks saying we don't want to be reminded of our sins in the past. Like, like it's not even that they telling you like we don't want to be reminded of it. It's telling you that these people have never lived that experience. They have never enslaved a black person. Most of these Americans have never even discriminated against a black person. So why is this always in the forefront of every discussion in regards to America? This is why we're eliminating all these exhibits in our American museums. It's because we don't want to keep talking about what we was. We want to talk about what we is and what we can be together. Black, white, Latino, Hispanic, homosexual, man and women. That's the discussion that our president is trying to shape around this country. Don't nobody want to keep being reminded of what we used to be. I know me as a black person, as a descendant from a slave. I don't want to be reminded because if I'm being reminded, I'm dishonoring my ancestors' struggle, their sacrifice. I'm dishonoring it because I'm sure my great great grandfather, who was on a slave, picking cotton and being beat and abused by his white counterparts, I'm sure now he's looking at me right now and saying, well, boy, that was my excuse. What is yours? And this is the point that black folk need to get to. We shouldn't be focused so much on what happened to us and need to start focusing on making sure that that shit never happened to us again. And I'm telling you, and I know you black liberals think that's what y'all doing by talking about it. And I'm telling you, talk ain't never accomplished shit but a conversation. Power concedes nothing without demand. But y'all already know how my boy Scott gonna eloquently put away with all of this crap.
As much by ending this post with, this country cannot be woke because woke is broke. He says we have to have the hottest country in the world and we want people to talk about it, including our museums. Why is he equating talking about slavery with woke?
Really, Abby? Is that a real question? Are you being serious right now? Why is he equating slavery with being woke? Because all you woke folk don't want to talk about with nothing but slavery and racism. This is why he's equating slavery with woke. That's all you woke folk represent. That's why. But I digress because you know my boy Scott, man. He's going in. He's going in. Let's go, Scott. Cook 'em.
Well, look, I think, let me just start this conversation by saying that my personal view is slavery was a reprehensible institution. I agree with your words that it was our original sin. We also fought a war to eradicate it and to get over it as a country. And that was a necessary thing that happened, and a lot of people died, and we did eradicate it, and that's a good thing. I think what he's asking is, in our museums, What defines us? Are we going to be defined by the worst moment or the worst institution or the worst mistake we ever made? Or are we going to be defined by what we've done moving forward to get over it and to become the greatest nation on the earth? My belief is that he wants to look at these museums, not because he wants to do away with the idea that slavery occurred, but that he wants to ask a very simple question. Are we going to present ourselves as being exceptional or not? And I think he believes there is an effort by some to continue to try to define us from our worst moment instead of try to focus and define us based on our best moments, which started when we eradicated slavery and began to move forward as the light of the world. And so that's what I think.
See, this is the that point Scott just made. It just see that Scott point just made, man. See, that's what I'm saying, man. That right there is what amplifies my positions, y'all. This is what I'm saying. This is why we're currently in this culture of black fatigue in these United States of America. This is why. Because, like, you mean to tell me we're gonna spend the next hour on the national news platform talking about museum exhibits? Like, there's nothing else happening in this world more worthy of CNN's coverage than talking about slavery exhibitions. Slavery don't exist. See, this is why white folk and black folk is tired of black folk. And it's specifically that. It's like, you're so tired of people crying and complaining. And not only that, I know white folk gotta be so tired of being accused of something they had nothing to do with it. I know that gotta be the most irritating in the world. Not only being accused, also being punished by some shit they had nothing to do with it. I know my fellow white Americans, man, gotta be fatigued by this idea. You mean to tell me you guys are gonna keep throwing in our face what my great grandparents did? That don't even make sense, y'all. I don't understand. I don't even understand how black folk think that they can do any better if they don't focus on the here and now and the tomorrow. There's nothing back for us back there. There's nothing for us back there in the past. None of us can even relate to it. Only thing we doing is excusing our current behavior from past experiences. That's all we're doing. We're justifying our current experiences by what happened to our great grandparents in the past. And it's shameful and it's disgusting and it's devastating in that order. And I'm so glad, man, that Scott eloquently spoke the position of these great United States of America. This is the position of us Maga supporters. Like, man, we don't want to keep talking about this crap. We want to be redefined by what we can accomplish now, what we can achieve tomorrow, what we can do together, all of us, black, white, Latino, all this diverse country. What can we accomplish together? Stop all this division. Stop all this separation. Stop all this hate mongering. Stop all this race baiting, y'all. Let's talk about what we can do as Americans to make America great. That should be the only thing our news folks is covering. But let me just finish this clip, y'all.
Museums have to learn the lessons of the past, and to deny it is to defend it.
I don't think he's denying it. And
See, this is what I'm saying. You didn't hear not one of the black folk there. You're going to hear the white liberal woman say, to deny it is to defend it. Is you crazy, woman? To deny something is not to defend nothing. And he's not denying anything. He's just saying it's currently not relevant. He's saying we have a lot on our platter. We're trying to savage this great country of ours. And y'all talking about what we was 100 and some years ago. When we got kids suffering now. We got women being killed by men. Kids being killed by everybody. Like, we got all these issues, man. And you people sitting here concerned about what occurred in the 1800s. Come on, y'all. Get a grip on it. And this is coming from a black man, man. One from the bottom, too. One who used to use slavery as an excuse for most of my life. It doesn't pan out, y'all. It doesn't pan out. Let's go. Let's finish this.
And Bachi may want to comment on this as well, but I think what he wants to ask is a simple question. As we present our history, are we spending most of our time focused on something terrible? Are we going to spend more time as we enter our 250th anniversary focused on what this country has done to improve the lives of every single person who lives here? We are the light of the world for a reason.
And for the life of me, I can't figure out why that don't make all the sense in the world. I don't understand why that don't make all the sense in the world. Like, no one wants to focus. Nobody want to focus on the last 4 years. Like, because, I mean, especially you liberals, but every time Trump bring up the last 4 years, why is he so focused on the past? This is the immediate past. We just got out of that past 7 months ago. You people are talking about something that happened generations ago. Black folk, man. White liberals, stop this crap, man. It doesn't help no one. Period. And I understand why they try to make this argument. And then, like, for instance, like Bakari Sellers, he made a good point on this point. Yeah, we're going to hear him out in a minute. He made a good point on this, man, that there's a lot of residual effects of slavery and white supremacy and shit like that. And fuck it, I'm going to let y'all hear his point that he made on that. And then we'll unpack it after that.
I mean, the idea that slavery happened, it's hard to understand what we've overcome if you don't even talk about what it was. You know, I think that kind of waters down the whole
I don't think
experience.
anybody is proposing that we ignore that it happened.
I
don't
think
think that's accurate.
and Scott used the term a couple of times, and I don't think it was meant with any type of ill intent, but he said, you know, we got over it. And I think that's the problem. I think that there are a lot of people in this country who believe that for some reason we got over it. I mean, the fact is that American chattel slavery is vastly different than what Jillian Michaels and others talk about when they talk about slavery around the world. I mean, the chattel slavery system that we had was extremely transactional. It was actually codified in law, and it was based upon the color and race, as you so eloquently pointed out in your opening. And so not only when you think about that portion of where we are, 26 of our first 30 Supreme Court justices owned slaves. The people who are on our money every single day owned slaves. United States presidents, members of the United States Congress owned slaves. Lehman Brothers, we're not far from Wall Street, owned slaves. Brooks Brothers suits that we wear own slaves. So not only are we talking about the epicenter and the foundation of where our country was built, we have to acknowledge that.
See, this is what I mean. See, the brother started out his whole position by stating, like, man, what you mean? We have to get over it. Yeah, brother. We have to get over it. That's not even a tough request for us current black folk to get over it, because we never experienced. This shouldn't be shit to get over. We need to get over using it as an excuse. That's what we need to get over. Like, I don't want to hear this residual effect of slavery. I'm so tired of black folk using this line, because it's not even a line for black folk. When black folk first got free from slavery, they didn't use slavery as an excuse. They got to work getting their shit together. They looked at it like, oh, we free, we got an opportunity, we ain't got no excuses, let's get to it. And for the life of me, man, for the life of me, I can't understand why my black folk, why my fellow black Americans, man, can't reach that same freaking conclusion. We have to get over it, man. We have to. If we don't, we fail to exist any longer. Our past is our hindrance. Our historical sacrifices are contributing to our current suffering, because we won't let it go. We got to let it go for our sake, and we got to let it go because these white folks that we currently occupy this United States would had nothing to do with it. And I think if somebody tried to do it again today, I think white folk will rebel against it, because it's the white folks who rebelled against it in the Civil War. It was white folk that was dying by the multitudes to end slavery for black folk. And if you're gonna talk about slavery, why don't nobody ever talks about that? You hear black folk talk about the end of slavery like they ended it. Like they still blame. How you gonna blame white folk for putting you in slave and not credit black white folk? How you gonna blame white folks for putting you in slavery, but won't credit white folks for getting you out of slavery? And they got you out of slavery, killing their fellow family members, their fellow Americans, their fellow countrymen, their fellow white folk. They did that for you. And if it wasn't for you, you benefited from it. So why won't you capture that benefit? Why won't we capture that benefit and grow from it? Why are we staying locked in hurt and won't focus on healing? Come on, y'all. Come on, man. I mean, and even after all that being said, man, listen, man, the mega superstar Baki, man, she really brings this conversation some depth. She really brings some depth to this conversation, because she asks real questions and exhibit real facts and want to know what's the problem. Yeah, let's check out. Let's let this woman flow. Let's go, y'all.
Why the focus so much on slavery when it comes to rewriting history? There's a lot of history that is in these museums, but he's focused on one thing, and that is that there's too much slavery being mentioned in the United States of America.
That there is too much slavery being mentioned in the United States of America. Sister, you got to know that slavery haven't existed for generations. And yet you guys are spending at least 30 minutes of it of national broadcast time. This thing doesn't exist in America. This thing haven't existed in America for decades and decades. And yet you're spending 30 minutes of national broadcasts talking about museum exhibits. You guys wasted a 30-minute national broadcast on a museum exhibition. You guys ought to be ashamed of yourself, man. But I digress. Let's go.
Very odd, Batia, honestly.
So I want to start by saying I actually agree with everything that's been said, and I loved your opening. And so I offer these comments very humbly, because it's an honor to be included in this conversation, which is very solemn, and I think we all understand that, and we are all looking for the common ground here. And so what I'm about to say, I don't mean in any way to negate that tone. But starting around 2011, 2012, sociologists started to notice a shift in white liberal opinion polling.
Now listen, y'all. She's finna break down. She's finna show you the liberal hand in all of this madness. She's finna break down the liberal whites and how they are responsible for us spending 30 minutes of national broadcast talking about something that happened hundreds of years ago. I mean, not hundreds of years ago, but decades ago. Let go, y'all. Let me let her finish.
To where white progressives became more extreme in their views on race than black and Hispanic Americans. And they called this, the sociologists called it the Great Awakening. And when they postulated where did this...
Hold on, stop right there. Now you got white liberals focusing more on race issues than those people who have suffered from racism. Now that should be interesting to y'all, because that speaks to a lot of my other videos, y'all. Y'all gotta go check out my other videos, like, cause this speaks into them. I keep trying to point y'all in the right direction of the COVID, man. It's these motherfucking liberals. I keep trying to point y'all in the right direction, man. And she finna give y'all some real and raw facts, man, about why we're sitting here talking about this issue in 2025.
suddenly start obsessing over race in a way that was actually far to the left of where Hispanic and Black Americans were on this issue, they found that the media had shifted radically how it talked about these issues. So for example, in 2010, the words white supremacy were mentioned 75 times in the Washington Post and the New York Times.
But the media is different from museums.
In 2020, the words white supremacy were mentioned 700 times in the Washington
See, this is what I'm saying. Y'all see that jump from 75? This jump, man, that's what I keep trying to tell y'all. Yeah, they're doing it so obviously. I mean, it's right in our face, y'all. And we still don't do shit about it. This is what keep encouraging them. This is why we spending 30 minutes talking about this shit, because we spend 30 minutes talking about this shit. So they're going to keep bringing it up because we keep talking about it. As long as we're talking about it, they stay relevant. And they push these narratives in order to stay relevant. And what's crazy is all at the detriment to us black folk. Because we're the one they're keeping victims.
Post in the New York Times and 2,400 times in NPR. The word racism 4,000 times in 2020. The words white and racial privilege from 2013 to 2019 grew by 1,500% in the New York Times. And
1,500%. See, this is what I mean. Look at how legacy media is promoting this narrative, y'all, of division. Look at this crap. And y'all falling for the okie doke? Come on, man.
The Washington Post, and the word slavery itself exponentially skyrocketed as a percentage of words. I'm offering this only to suggest.
I understand. I'm just wondering
that.
What do you think is the problem with talking about slavery, white supremacy, racism, etc.?
Well, the problem, sister, let me answer for the sister. The problem is it don't exist. So why are we talking about it? That's what the problem is. Not only that, no one's trying to discourage conversations about slavery or racism or white supremacy. No one's discouraging that. We just don't want it in our public domains. Those are personal complaints, personal issues, and you should deal with that shit personally. Our government is founded on equity. So we're not gonna be putting black folks over white folk. We're gonna have a representation of all of American history, including the generals, including the Southern Dixiecrats, including everybody who contributed in America. You folk we just can't have it our way, y'all. We just can't say, well, we want all our pain and suffering and our accomplishment exhibited in museums, and we don't want none of y'all's exhibited nowhere because it projects a terrible time in our past. Well, it's still American history. If you guys are going to make the argument that American history should be displayed, period, no matter how sinful, that it should be displayed, discussed, talked about, and all this shit. If you liberals going to keep up with this argument, then why y'all keep trying to tear down all the monuments? All the Confederate monuments and trying to take down all the Confederate flags. Ain't this a part of American history too? Shouldn't that type of history be eligible for display too? But this is what I tell y'all. It's a whole bunch of uncommon nonsense going on. It's a whole bunch of it, man.
But the point I'm trying to make here is that liberals will say, well, this is a reflection of reality. But of course it isn't. This is a reflection of a newfound obsession that was driven by the media.
Because this is not based on current reality.
That doesn't reflect either the moral evil of these things or the historical accuracy.
I do want to
You know how much better you can represent a position in that. That was a hell of a take. Like, why are we talking about this shit? And not only do she ask why, she even give you a demonstration on why we might be talking about this. She's showing you that there's some intention about this division, that someone's intentionally sparking all of this race and slavery talk and division in America. She's letting you know, she's pointing to instances and facts to demonstrate to you, Abby, that you are intentionally being misled. You're being fed propaganda. You're being indoctrinated. I mean, here you is with your own show on CNN, probably sitting around with a $2,000 or $3,000 suit on, with a $2,000 hairstyle. I'm sure you live in a nice house in the suburbs, probably with a nice husband, driving nice cars, kids go to nice schools, and all of this shit. And you sit up here and spend 30 minutes of this program's time, talking about the ill effects of slavery and racism. If there's ill effects and it looks like you, I want some of that slavery. If I get to be successful like you, I want some of that. Let's go. With Scott and Baca making those great points, these liberal losers still was pissed off. They still was adamant and forceful in their position. Like, check this out, y'all. This shit, it didn't end there.
Has been because black blood flowed through the streets. You don't have the 64-65 Voting Rights Act without the Edmund Pettus Bridge. You don't have the Voting Rights Act. You don't have Fair Housing Act without King being assassinated. We don't even take the Confederate flag down without 9 people being killed in the church, right? We don't talk about criminal justice reform without a black man being killed in the streets. And so when we are articulating our views to you about the remnants thereof, I understand your point.
No, you do not, my man. No, you do not. And I wish you, brother, see, this is a perfect example why you shouldn't live in your pain. This is a perfect example. First off, this ain't even that brother's pain, man. This is some bullshit. This is why, but this is just for the sake of argument. This is why you don't live in pain. Because now you're delusional. You're delusional. Like, dude, you sit up here and say it. Like, all the progress been made through black blood. Like, there's no progress. There's no Voter Rights Act without Martin Luther King being killed. Without them sisters getting shot in the church, there's no criminal reform. Without George Floyd, there's no criminal reform. Yeah, it sparked the conversation. It brought attention to shit that was happening in an American community. But for crying out loud, y'all do know, in order for that shit to stop, it takes white people to stop it. So once again, if a white person did it and you hold them accountable, why won't you give credit to a white person who stopped it? Because none of y'all black folks signed any of them laws. None of you black folk. This is what I'm saying, man. Like, just stand up and be accountable, man. What's so hard about that, man? Man, we can go a whole lot further, man. We really can enjoy of the boundaries of this country if we stop being so anti-American. All we have to do is enjoy our future with the American future. And I guarantee you, black folk will prevail, man. We got to shake this anti-American culture. It's destroying us. It's destroying us. Let's finish.
That we are not shackled or in bondage like we were in slavery. However, we have never deconstructed the remnants.
And so now we need to deconstruct, brother. And it is not a white person's job to do so. This is for us to stop giving a fuck about this type of shit. I'm keeping it 100. This is us letting them keep us distracted, letting them keep us deceived. This is us doing that, my mans. You don't know nothing about no slavery, boy. You ain't experienced nothing. You probably ain't even experienced no real racism, man. Sitting up here, man, talking about this shit eloquently like you suffered. And you might have suffered. You did saying that you experienced it through your family, brother. But I'm trying to tell you, man, in order, man, to end any continuous suffering, man, we got to move on. Us black folk, us white folk, us Americans. We have to move beyond what we used to be in order for us to become what we supposed to be, man. We still got a lot of things to accomplish in this great America. Like, come on, y'all.
Which still affect us today.
Well, I also want
That
to just
is
add,
a
Batia,
political point
but
of view
Batia,
that Donald
just
Trump
as
is
a
trying to
just as
address.
a fact.
See, did y'all hear the point Baki just made? See, that right there is exactly what Donald Trump is trying to address. If he was black, if Donald Trump was a black president, this is what he'd be telling us, y'all. I'm gonna do my Trump mimic. No, I'm not. This is what Trump would be trying to tell us. Like, listen, y'all. It ain't a damn thing I can do for you if y'all don't do shit for yourself. It ain't a damn, there's nowhere in the world I'm going to take the limited resources, the limited energy, and the limited focus of this country and commit it to people who have no fight, no dog in the fight, who don't even want to lift a nail to break their bondage. So once again, black folk, what y'all asking for us white folk in America again, what y'all asking for them white folks in America again is simply this. Y'all die for us once to remove us from bondage. We need y'all to do that again. We need y'all to keep sacrificing so we can stop struggling. The world don't work like that, my man. The only thing America offers is the opportunity, man. Everything else, man, is up to you, brother. It's up to you, man. This young man with Scott eating what he killed. Let's go.
There was the first black president elected in the country. There was the Mother Emanuel massacre that happened during his presidency, which was, last I checked, about racism and white supremacy. So there have been moments when we have actually correctly in this country grappled with those very things because they've been put on the agenda by our fellow Americans. So I don't understand the desire to try to avoid that when it's not as if it's gone. I mean, people are literally still killing people in this country because of the color of their skin, and suddenly we should just move past it?
I think we've had more than just moments where we have had massive leaps forward in the way we treat each other in this country. I mean, I agree with Batya. Where we sit today is vastly different than where we sat in the 1960s or the 1920s or the 1860s.
I don't think anybody's disputing that.
And it's not even close.
I don't know, but I don't think anybody's disputing that.
I mean, not only is it not even close, it might be the reverse. Now this slavery narrative and this racism narrative might be putting white folks in bondage. That's something to consider for another episode, y'all. I'm gonna dig into that because there's something to say that. This is probably a reason. There's probably the reason for this black fatigue because white folks is probably feeling, man, real clogged down, man, and real bottled down by this narrative of slavery and race, man. They tired of pouring into an empty jug, man. You can't keep pouring resources into an empty jug, man. Oh, man, come on.
I think it's just a question of, do we need to just stop talking about it because we're not in Jim Crow
I don't think anyone's
anymore?
proposing that, but what I do think he is proposing, and I think this is worth discussing, is that as we go into our 250th anniversary, how are we presenting ourselves to the world? Are we presenting ourselves as a country that is obsessed with our worst moment, or are we presenting ourselves as a country that managed to overcome our worst moment and have been improving ever since?
It's not about being obsessed with our worst moment.
That's exactly what you guys are doing. It's being obsessed by our worst moments.
I mean, again, I think it's an important part. You know, last year, 17 million people visited the Museum for African American History and Culture. And I think that's an important number because part of what they saw was that this was a story about African American resilience. This is a story about community. It is a story about democracy and triumph. But it is also a story about two parts of the same coin that you can't have. And I think this is to Bakari's point. that you can't have that story of resilience. You can't have that story of expansive democracy without understanding how it happened and how we got there. You can't erase slavery and say, well, it's over and done with, and now we're not going to talk about it.
Oh, y'all, there we go, y'all. See, this is what I'm saying, man. These liberals, man, I mean, they take a discussion, man. They take a discussion on museum exhibitions, and they turn it into detrimental events. Like listen to what she's saying. Like, oh my God. Like, listen to how this sister just ended this. Like sister, like we've never experienced any of this harm and hurt. Matter of fact, all the harm and hurt we experiencing seem to be more so at the hands of us than them. So if you really want to address past and historical harms and wrongs, then maybe we should start looking at people in our own community, people in our own race who have disappointed us, who have betrayed us, who have enslaved us, who have hurt us, who've killed us, who's murdered us, who's lied to us, who have enslaved us. I mean, why we never have a discussion in depth about all the black folk and what they do to the black community? For the life of me, you people won't spend 30 minutes of a broadcast talking about that. Shit, I'll be damned. I'd be damned if you ever see Abby Phillips spend 30 minutes of her broadcast talking on black crime and black on black delinquency. I'd be damned if you guys ever see a 30-minute show on Abby Phillips about that. I guarantee they don't care. They don't care, man. And with that, y'all, I digress from this whole thing. This video already too long, y'all. And I knew it was going to be long because there was a lot of clips, man. There was a lot of points being made, man. I hope y'all stayed to the end, man. If y'all did, man, I appreciate you, man. And if you did, man, you know how your boy feel about this whole thing, man. Like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, y'all. We got to grow this channel so we can grow this conversation, man. We got these folks out here every day doing nonsensical shit. And we got to talk about it, and we got to try to make it make some sense, y'all. Because these people is crazy. And they spending time and energy and effort and resources on the craziest shit to the detriment of the people who need that time and effort and resources. And it's a shame, man. But I digress, man. Listen, man, your boy out of here, man. I really wish, man, y'all start checking out some of my other videos, man, because I touch on a lot of this shit, man, in my earlier videos, man. Just check it out, y'all. Just check it out. You bored or something, man, just check it out, man. I mean, they rookie. I mean, I'm still a rookie. So, of course, the production is rookie and all that, man. But some of that shit I'm saying, man, you guys probably agree with, man. And if you agree with me, man, put it shit in the comment, man. If y'all think, man, that somehow Trump is trying to whitewash this country, man, that y'all think Trump is a white supremacist, man, that's trying to destroy any historical significance black folks had in this country, man, put it in the comments, man. I would love to have this discussion with you guys. I would love to. But until the end, y'all, man, y'all know your boy motto, man. Stay out your body, y'all. Reside in your spirit, man. It's where your potential at, man. Until next time, man. It's another episode of Uncommon Nonsense in the Books, man, with your boy, Big Meaty. Peace, my beloveds.